tomorrow, but today is the day that you say, I will reign. I will reign. I will reign. I will reign.
This week's episode is sponsored by Dollhouse of Tampa Salon and Studio. Find your inner doll. They offer quick weaves, sew-ins, and much, much more to fit every occasion. Need a wig? Selena's got you. She will customize a unit just for you. Book your next appointment on Booksy today. Did someone say nails? Honey, forget the Bayhive. Contact Queen Bee herself. She offers customized designer nails and even designer press-ons that she will customize and ship to you. Braids, and even twists. Book with Tiffany right on Facebook. Find your inner doll at Dollhouse Tampa Salon and Studio. Tampa. This week's episode is sponsored by Hustle and Bling. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that bling. Lovely paparazzi designer pieces for only $5. That's right, $5. And don't worry about it if the kid gets in the jewelry box. They're only $5. Make sure you catch Allison Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays live on Instagram and Facebook, promoting some of these wonderful fashion fixes that you'll enjoy. And if you miss it, check out the website. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that bling. Hustle and Bling. Stay in Love TV is your production to distribution solution to getting your message seen and heard. Having your own TV show with Stay in Love TV has never been easier than now. Stay in Love TV gives you the power to share your message with the world. Stop watching TV and start being watched on TV. Stay in Love TV offers real-time multicasting, all with one click. This opportunity puts you on the world stage with an audience of over 200 million. In addition to your low monthly subscription fees, you will also receive monthly network coaching and training from the network itself to ensure that before your first show premieres, you are set up for success. We at Stay in Love TV bring over 20 years experience in sales, marketing, advertising, and business development. Stay in Love TV, purposeful entertainment driven by love, empowered with passion, fueled with faith. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com and let's get started. This is thy kingdom come. Let the spirit of the Holy One pass over. Let your peace cover the earth. Lord, let your will be done. This is the time to take a stand, to let the world know that you can. You can face tomorrow, but today is the day that you say, I will reign. I will reign. I will reign.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator.
And I'm Michelle. I'm your spiritual evolutionist and your motivator. Namaste. I bow to divine presence in you on this satisfying Sunday.
Namaste, co-host. So how was your week?
Interesting.
Okay.
God is just, like I said last week, settling some things, finalizing some things. And a lot of times when you're going in through the transition and you don't know how the outcome is, you have to deal with the in-between times. You have to deal with your mind and your feelings and your body. And there's a lot of things going on at the same time, but we just have to stay focused on the promise and not the process.
Exactly. And don't get caught up in the hallway, because it can be hell in the hallway. Thank you, Dr. Jensen Franklin. It can be hell in the hallway, honey. But when you
Yes.
make it through hell and master that hallway experience
Right.
of your from your present to your future, then and your other side, and you get to the other side, then it's just you realize it was all worth it.
And so a lot of people are experiencing things, even myself, that I can't explain or put a name on a feeling or what it is that I'm experiencing. But I recognize that once you get out of the fear of not knowing what the feeling is and go and find and define yourself, then you walk in a different way of confidence, of knowing, reminding yourself that everything that you've heard, whether good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, is a part of this, and that it has come to bring a lesson to your memory to return back. Repent, return back to your original state of being. This is not your original state of being. And so it's an illusion that we've grown attached to, or that we've been conditioned and trained and hypnotized that this is real. This is not even real. It's just an illusion. But you have to go inside in order to be able to know that. So I'm just encouraging anybody that's going through something, a feeling in their solar plexus, in their energy fields, that God is rising you up into your crown chakra so that you're able to be able to know things that you should know or nobody taught you.
Right. And it took me a while to wrap my head around the fact that this isn't real. This isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simulation. It's an experience. But the great thing about it is that approach, that mentality helps you to stay on top of and master and realize that it's just an experience. It's all working out for my good, and really start to apply those biblical scriptures that were written to encourage us, so that we would know, not believe, but know.
Right. Yeah, you have to move from believing, because your beliefs can be changed, but your knowing and your experience can't be changed because you have actually experienced that. And we're just in the stage of moving to something so great. It is unbelievable. That's why you have to know it. Because if you say it's unbelievable, that means you're in a stage that you can be changed to what you're thinking. But even this week, God said, don't think, just don't think, because every time you think, you try to figure it out. He said, don't think, just stand still and see. You have to move from believing, because your beliefs can be changed, but your knowing and your experience. What happened?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You just heard me saying what I just said. Maybe it needed to be played back to me.
Yeah. No, it was over here. I was like, what's going on here? Okay. But yeah, so don't think, because you study long, you study wrong. Just trust the process. Trust the process.
And it's a building. You're actually reconstructing what people thought were you, and then you begin to think that was you. So now as God is reconstructing you back to your original form of energy, that was formless, and the outside took that formless and tried to form it into what they wanted. But God will not allow that to happen. He will not allow an outside, I don't say man anymore, outside mind to begin to transform you into something that he has not purposed for your life. And so we just have to really be still, stand still, and just know that what the process is, God already has done the outcome of it.
And you've assisted in it. See, that's the thing.
Yes.
We'll be like, I believe this is happening to me. Well, the reason why you can't believe it is because you haven't accepted the fact that you are a part of this process, that you are helping to author and build and outline this new process because of what you've been thinking, feeling, meditating, believing, and eventually knowing.
Right. So we're in space, but we're in a place where you're going to listen more. The reason you're going to listen more to what God is saying from the inside out is because you're at the point where you don't know.
Right.
And when you're at the point where you don't know, you have to stand still. You have to be quiet. You have to make a determination that, okay, since I don't know whether to go left or right, I'm just going to stand still right here until I get my instructions. So
Right.
it's moving us back to listening. That's why all through these churches we've heard, hear what the Spirit is saying to you. Hear what the Spirit is saying to you. It doesn't matter what you're seeing with the physical eyes. It says hear, and the hearing is in your heart, not in your ear.
Right.
It's a voice that you hear with no lips.
Say that again, co-host.
It is a voice that you hear with no lips, and let me add, no ears, no physical. So we've got to go away from physical in order to be able to master the physical.
Girl, say that again. You are flowing into Michelleologies tonight. Say it again, co-host.
We have to go away from the physical so that we will know how to master it. And so we're trying to master it without going away from it and basing it on what somebody else has told us to do. 95% of what we're doing or hearing or seeing is what somebody else said. Now, God is putting you back in a space and place where you hear for yourself. It's not something you said or they said or we said, but it's something God said and you heard it for yourself. So don't be discouraged. You cannot be. I'm in a place that I could be discouraged, but I refuse to be discouraged because I know the outcome. I win.
Yes. And we must. See, this is the thing. This is the illusion of what everything has been altered to try to keep you bound by fear, discouragement, all these lower vibrational adjectives and feelings that go against God. Right?
Yeah. That's the same thing today in the message. It's like everything is a mind thing. And God said the wheat and the tare grow up together. And so we're trying to change the tare, but it's supposed to grow up with us. We're supposed to mature in this experience, whether good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. God created it all. I know we don't like to think that God created evil, but he created what we call Satan. So Satan turned evil, so God had to create it, but he created it with a purpose in mind.
In order for us to know the difference, we must see the contrast.
Yes.
Otherwise, we wouldn't know, not believe, know the difference.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know what worked for me until I experienced the contrast.
Right. And we never fail. We just find a better way to do it.
Just never fail. And that's true. Let everything that you're experiencing grow up with you.
Yes.
While you mature, because you know that you are wheat, and whatever's trying to tear you apart, you grow in the experience. When you learn to grow into the experience, then when the time it comes, you'll be separated.
Right. And what it is, it's a mental separation.
Yes.
You no longer see it as good or bad. You'll see it as an experience. And then your emotions won't get tied to it.
Exactly.
And then you won't get distracted and start stumbling because you feel a certain way and your feeling is not connecting with God. God is about a feeling, F-I-L-L-I-N-G, not a feeling, F-E-E-L-I-N-G. And so until we get the feeling and the overflow, we cannot pour out on our flesh until we get an overflow. So in your experience, you are getting the overflow so that you can flow on everybody else outside of you that sleep. In that scripture, Matthew 13, 24 through 30, it said the enemy came while you were asleep, unconscious, not paying attention, being distracted, not physically asleep, but mentally sleep. You didn't even know the enemy had came.
And sowed seeds. And guess what? Here's the plot twist. God allowed it.
Yes.
He
Because it
allowed
was
it.
working for your good.
Working for your good, baby. Because when every experience that you come out of, where you feel like you just can't make it, where you feel like you can't go on, where you feel like everything is falling apart around you, baby, I understand what those preachers meant when they said get excited. And I will never forget, it was in the 90s. It had to be in the 90s because I was in Colorado with my husband, Kevin. When all hell is breaking loose in your life, look up, for your redemption draws nigh. When all hell is breaking loose in your life, look up, because your redemption draws nigh. That means when you're going through that experience and you don't know where to turn and you don't know what to do, look up, because your redemption is here. It's very close. And everything, but just the thing goes, a lot of people be shouting and jumping all over church and running and all this stuff and everything. But if you have not been putting in anything, then you can't experience no outcome.
That's
That's
the
what
principle. Yeah, it's the principle of God saying sowing
yeah.
and reaping. People always think sowing and reaping is just money. That's not
Mm-mm.
true. He has made us a seed, and a seed has to be sown in order for whatever is inside of it to come out. We are a
Right.
seed, and until we're sown in the dirt, and that's why we're made out of that.
Right.
We cannot experience what's on the inside of us until we have been gone through a whole lot of mess. And then we get some age on it and we become a message. And so if you look at yourself as a seed, and if you're going through a whole lot of stuff like I'm going through right now, just know that when that seed opens, when that inside comes out, there's going to be roots, trunk, there's going to be leaves, branches, and fruit.
Right.
And it's going to be your season. So you have to declare. I know people say we go in different seasons. I'm declaring that every season is my season.
Every season. And it is.
And I'm not taking a break.
You can't have a spring without a winter. You can't have a spring without a winter.
Yeah. I'm not taking a break. It is a continuous flow of what God is doing. We were blessed when we were going through this, and we were blessed when we were coming out of that, and we were blessed when we were about to enter. There is not any stopping points for your blessing. It's all a mind thing. If you think it is, that's what it should be.
And you know what's interesting? We're gonna go into the station break and lead into tonight's talk. But you know what's interesting, Coz, is that the last 2 years have been very interesting for me in a number of ways. And I can, as I reflect and I look back, I know that I've matured spiritually, emotionally, and still everybody still has challenges and everything, but I've become more compliant with humbling myself.
Yes.
Because of the experience that I went through.
Yes. It is pushing you. That's why I said if we didn't grow up together, because there's a maturity level, and you get to a point where you don't even see the tear because you're so concentrating on being the wheat that you don't even see all of this, because you've decided that everything is working for your good.
Everything. You don't realize it, but you have to realize it, because everything that you've been sowing, it's you're creating, right? You are creating that next scene in your life. You're meditating, you're visualizing, you're affirming. What you're doing, you write the script, you're building out the characters. You don't know it, but you know it. You're visualizing, you're getting that feeling, you're creating the energy for that experience, everything, you're building it, right? And so when you're doing that, you don't realize it at the time, but that's what you're doing. So when you get ready to go to that next experience, that next scene in your life, because we are physical yet spiritual at the same time, we think, oh my God, this is just no. If you realize you are the author, co-author of your life, you're the producer, you're the director, and you're the casting agent. The casting agent goes out and scours out and looks for personalities that fit the script.
Yes, for your life,
for your next experience.
Yes,
because this is a life movie. So every scene, every chapter in your life will require characters. So everything, and that's why you reap what you sow. So you have to be very diligent and very observant in understanding that, because when you start feeling things that aren't good for you, you're creating experiences. So when you realize you reap what you sow, you'll take control of that, and you become the master of your feelings, your thoughts, your everything that you know is a part of that process of building that next scene in your life. Now, we're not machines, so there will be times, but I always like to grade myself. It's just me. I'm like, well, 80% of the time I was focused on that, 20% of the time on that. So that lets me know that I am going to have a little challenging experience. Sure enough, but because I was astute and aware of what it was, and I went within, and humble yourself, and then I was able to see it from the right perspective. Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So I had an experience on the job and everything, and I realized, I said, wait a minute, I'm the student now. I need to submit to my director. I need to, I knew that my role had changed in this next scene, this next chapter of my life. So so now, sure enough, this is how you know, baby. Sure enough, when I humbled myself, the experience got lighter, and I felt more love, more unconditional love and respect. Now, see,
what we don't know is when we humble ourselves, we are coming out of our ego. And ego means edging God out.
Right.
And when we humble ourselves, we recognize that who we really are. This is what you see here is not me.
Right.
This is something you're imagining right now. This is something that is not even real. It's not me. You cannot see the real me. And so if you take time to say, oh, well, that's Michelle, and basing it on what you see, you're going to miss me. And when you was talking about changing the way you look at things, that's sowing and reaping too. Because if you change the way you're looking at things, you're sowing into something totally different.
Right.
Than what the illusion is. You're sowing into the reality of the whole situation, and then it changes. Like immediately. Your mind just like that.
Sure it does. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We when we come back, we're going to be talking about, because we're diving into the 7 churches of Revelation this season. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Laodicea. That's the Church of Laodicea. Welcome to the comfort zone. And I'm thinking maybe once we get to the is this the last church? No.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
It's the last church.
We're in the last church.
Okay, so after that, so next week we'll go through a recap of all the churches and have our other talk, the first 20 minutes. But the interesting about these churches is that your point of view and your perspective on it, co-host, was just really enlightening and eye-opening to understanding that it's different versions of ourselves through our spiritual walk. And I'm looking forward to what you have to share tonight regarding the Church of Laodicea. So when we come back, that's what we'll be talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So go grab yourself a refreshing beverage. We're going to take a short, looks like minute break. We're going to run a few ads, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Church of Laodicea. Welcome to the Comfort Zone. Stay tuned. The Ride Along with Vanessa Morning Show streams Fridays, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Stay in Love TV.
Welcome. You have just entered today's Michelle Out. We provide you with insight that's needed to take a deeper look into your consciousness and provide tools that will open up the door to your higher self. Get ready for a now awakening. Remember, once you go in, you'll never be without.
Get your copy of Mental Equation, available on Amazon and on Stay in Love TV, today's Michelleology.
7.
That's right. Get your copy of Mental Equation right there on Amazon, or contact the great Michelle Massey Washington on any of her social media handles, and she'll get that over right to you. Mental Equation.
Yes.
Available on Amazon.
And join me in the morning at 7.
Yes.
Let's get that party started for the week.
Yeah. Today's Michelleology. That's
yeah,
right.
I'm excited.
Right.
I'm excited.
7 a.m.
We're almost to the end of
Yeah.
The season
Yeah.
for that, it's gone by so fast. That's why I know that time is not really what we think it is, but it's exciting. We're going to start something new soon. I'm looking for single moms who want to talk,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so that we can begin to talk about that. That is a subject that's dear to my heart because I was a single mom. And so I know we can help each other get through some of the obstacles and provide tools that maybe can be helpful. So if you're interested in going on camera and telling your story as a single mom, we're not doing bashing. We are just enlightening each other to how we can move forward. So contact me and we can get that party started.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be working on some of those things for your other talk show.
Yeah. Let's talk
Yeah.
about
Let's talk about it.
it.
So tonight we're talking about the Church of Laodicea. Welcome to the comfort zone. Let me put up my handy dandy scriptures here. They are running here. Revelation, is it chapter 3,
Yes.
verse 14 through 20. No, 15, because I couldn't get all of it on there. But
Okay.
I know you well. You're neither hot nor cold. I wish you were one or the other. But since you're merely lukewarm, I will spit you out of my mouth. Y'all need to underline that. We're going to talk about that tonight. You say I am rich with everything I want. I don't need a thing. And you don't realize that spiritually you are wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked.
Mhm.
My advice to you is to buy pure gold from me, gold purified by fire. Only then will you truly be rich, and to purchase from me white garments, clean and pure, so you won't be naked, and continually discipline and punish everyone. So you won't be naked and ashamed, and to get medicine from me to heal your eyes and give you back your sight. I continually discipline and punish everyone I love. So I must punish you unless you turn from your indifference and become enthusiastic about the things of God. Look, I have been standing at the door and I'm constantly knocking. If anyone hears me calling him and opens the door, I will come in and fellowship with him and he with me. 21, I'm going to read this one. I will let everyone who conquers sit beside me on my throne, just as I took my place with my Father on his throne when I had conquered. Let those who can hear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. Laodicea. They was bad to the bone, man. They was rolling. That everybody was coming to Laodicea. They was flowing in they had coin. They had the money, everything. Rich people coming, get their fabrics, all this. It was a thriving metropolis city. But he told them, he said, look, you say you're rich, you got everything you want. I don't need a thing. And you realize you realize you are spiritually, you are wretched, miserable, poor, and naked. Yet you were existing where everybody was coming to get your fabric. Everybody was coming to your city. Everybody was coming to your church.
Mm.
And you're flowing. You know what popped in my mind, co-host?
What?
The beloved Creflo Dollar.
Mm.
Everybody was flowing. But the great thing about it is they were made aware. He said, here, this is what the Spirit is saying.
Yeah.
Rich, but you're naked. See, and you know what? And I'm gonna let you share. But I was thinking about that when I was getting ready, and I said, how can somebody just have? Because when you go through all these different phases of your spiritual walk, where you go persecuted, that's how I know everything don't last, because everything you experience is on temporary. Because just like these 7 churches, if you look at them, it started out, they lost their first love, this and that, and all that. Then they got caught up in it looks like phases of your spiritual maturity and involvement. Because now you're at the place where you're experiencing the wealth, and you think all that stuff, but then there's something missing. And I was thinking about that. I said, how can that happen? And you brought up that word tonight, humility. And it's true all throughout your walk. And this is what I'm hearing. Let those who can hear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the church. Hear. And I think that we misinterpreted hearing and said, because when you hear with your heart, you are in a place of humility, because you can only be humble to hear from your heart, my opinion.
Right. And it's amazing that he said he wants you to make a choice, because there are a lot of us that are in between, because we don't want our people to think we're too spiritual, and then we don't want our spiritual fans to think that we're too fleshly, and so we're in the middle. And so he said spew, and I began to look up that word, and that word means to spit out inflammation of phlegm. So it's saying we're in a space and a place, and we've all been there, where we had to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You can't live that. What they say, one leg in heaven and one in hell, and
Yeah.
you spin the fence and you getting splinters.
Yeah.
You must make a choice in order to get the fullness. He didn't even say, "I wish you choose to be hot." He said, "Choose one of them." So
because okay, so if you're cold, then God can do something with it. But if you look warm, like he can't figure it out. I mean, like, like if some of you, like, I can't quite put my tongue, a taste on it. What is that? You don't know whether it's good or bad, so you just spit it out. But when you can discern whether it's cold or hot. And people thought, I mean, in church, we thought you had to be I'm just excited for God. I'm on fire for God.
Right.
No, that fire that he's talking about, in my opinion, comes from when you going within and letting your light shine so brightly.
And so that's why we're in Revelation. It's the light. It said the destruction will come this time through fire. And so a lot of us are going through fire. But when we look at destruction, we don't look at it as a new construction. It's like when the fire is burning, we're sad about what's been burned up. But there has to be something new coming behind the fire. So as we're going through this fire, God is just constructing a new Ephesus of you seeing and returning back to what you started out as. And so he was telling them, I told you we take everything, we take the Bible literal, but it's more spiritual than literal.
Sure
They
is.
had everything. They had the money. A lot of us said, if I had more money, I would. But you don't do what you're supposed to do with the money that you have already.
You know what? I'm getting ready to close my camera right now, co-host. Right now, just close.
So we're getting. So we're getting in this space.
Ouch.
Where what God, if God says, "I shall supply all your need," whatever you have now is what you need, and whatever you'll need later, you'll have that. But we're so focused on that way that we're not paying attention to the now.
Right.
And so he was telling them, y'all got all of that outside stuff, but when we go inside, it's a whole lot lacking.
And you know what? This comes second, because they allowed those things to have them, and not them having the things.
Correct.
Because externally they look good now. They look like they had it all. The city looked like they had it going on. But when God really looked in and looked deep, God looks at our heart and our intentions and internal. He don't look at all this flesh suit we wearing and everything we doing, and he look at your heart, because that's the first thing you share with us. That's the first thing when we are created, as a heart.
Right.
So he looked at him and he said, "You know what, y'all? I can't figure you out, because on the outside you look like you got it going on, but on the inside it's the complete opposite."
So let's look at that. You look hot on the outside, but you're cold on the inside.
Yeah. They look like they got it going on, but you know what? That's like when you go to somebody's house and you see them and they be at the church and look like, God, they got it together. And then when you get to them in their house, you be like, dog. It's a dichotomy. You can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's why I was like, oh, I don't even know how to interpret this. I'll spit you out of my mouth. And people thought that you had to be on fire, but no, God, in my opinion, God was like, look, you need to be authentic. Choose who you're gonna be now. Either you're gonna be hot, ideal, look good and everything, or are you gonna be cold? something. Choose.
Right.
And the doing your walk, and you had mentioned earlier about how you're kind of in between, and you can't be in between. You need to be authentically you, baby.
Mhm.
And that was the challenge that I experienced. Was I couldn't figure out how to be Vanessa. I couldn't figure it
Right.
out.
Right.
But when I went within
Mhm.
and allowed Spirit to do the work in me, then that's when I realized I had to love me just who I am, because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. That means everything. My design is how I'm supposed to be. My personality, everything.
Yeah.
But my heart. See, we have to work on our heart to
Yeah.
allow. And he said, "Look, I'm knocking on the door." That means they done kick Jesus out of his dwelling place in them.
Yeah, because as a vessel and as an image, I was thinking today, I really have not embraced my power to the maximum, because if I'm in the image of God, there is no lack in me. It doesn't matter about inflation. We are seed time and harvest time, and there is no inflation in the kingdom. And we are not citizens of the kingdom. We are subject to the kingdom, which means we are ruling and reigning. We're not citizens. We're in authority. And so a lot of times we're going by what people told us. We have got to start asking God questions about our lives and who we are. We are not who they said we were. We are who God says. We'll believe what they say we are, but we will never go to God. I was telling them today, the old church, you say you don't question God. If you don't ask God questions, then you're not going to know the full truth of where it came from. And I brought up the game we used to play as kids, where one person would tell you something, then you whisper it, and then by the time it gets to the end, the person is nothing like what you said.
Right.
That's what's been happening to us throughout this walk that we've been
Operating on hearsay.
Yes, yes. So you have to ask God questions, because I want to hear it from the source so that I get the fullness of what it is for me. Now, people measure you by what you have on the outside, not what you have on the inside. Very few people measure you on what you have on the inside. They're looking to see if you have money, you have a big house, if you got name brand clothes on. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it has its perspective. When you're laying across that and it's over, it don't matter if you have on Gucci or Rucci.
Well, the last time I checked, when you win, you wind up in the morgue, everybody naked.
Yeah, you go back to that. So it doesn't matter how much you made. It doesn't matter how many cars you had. The only thing matters is your heart.
Your heart. Your heart.
And once you embrace your heart, there are multiple times during the day, you just need to take your right hand and just hold your heart.
Stay connected.
And get reacquainted with what's beating inside of you, the rhythm, the frequency, and the energy that is beating inside of you, that is giving you life.
Right.
It's not your clothes. It's not your bank account. Everybody would like to have a nice bank account. I would like to have a nice bank account. But when it comes to going through trouble, my bank account can't do nothing for me. Not one thing.
He was pleading with him. He says, "You doing all the things externally, but I want you to go within."
Yes.
He says, "My advice, you buy pure gold from me. Get the true wealth that can only come from me."
Right.
The true wealth. He said, I can help you see. He said, because they were famous for the salve. They had that, people would come all over, get that salve for their eyes. And so he was really speaking to them based on the external experience. He said, "You don't realize," he says, "only then will you truly be rich, and to purchase from me white garments, clean and pure." See, they were famous for the black and the purple garments because it signified wealth. He said, "Purchase from me the white garments," because that means purity and clean, so you won't be naked. He said, "and ashamed, and get the medicine from me to heal your eyes and give you back your sight." They had lost their sight.
Yes. Blind men, a blind mind's walking.
Leading the blind. And I thought about that. So how can that be during your spiritual walk, where you finally get into your comfort zone, your wealthy place, and this happens? And it's because,
and I just really thought about prosperity. I thought about it in a different way. We think about it in the money way, but my prosperity is based on me being in the image of God. It's not based on how much money I have or where I live or what I drive. I drive a 2007 Nissan Sentra, and it still gets me from A to B when other people are driving whatever they're driving. We're so in the competition that it spoils us to a point that we can't see. And that's that salve he's talking about. We've lost our sight. We've lost our love. We've talked about all of these different avenues that the church mind has gone through. And we should come to this place of comfort from within. And then we don't have to worry about the outside.
And when you do that, because he's like, I want to give you all these things, because when you have my sight, then you can really see. And he said, you think you can see because you're selling all this fancy salve, but let me give you the real stuff so that you can really see.
Yes.
And he said, you think you're rich now? Let me give you true richness that can only come from me. See, people think, okay, so here's the thing. So when you finally get into that space of wealth internally, then you become that, you'll line up with your outward richness that can only manifest. And in my opinion, I think that's what Christ was trying to share. He said, look, no, all this true wealth that you think that's happening externally, it needs to happen within first.
Right.
In your heart, in your eyes, how you see things. That way, when you do get all that stuff, you won't be acting contrary. You won't be acting from your ego. You'll be acting from your heart space and not your head and space. And you want to
I think we think that God is short of giving us things, that there's a shortage. There's no shortage.
That's what's been, rolling through the,
Right. Everybody's complaining about how high the gas is, but everybody's still putting gas in their car. They're not looking at it's high, but God has allowed you to pay for whatever you need to pay for. The murmuring and complaining is just the same thing that the children of Israel did, and we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We got to stop murmuring about what's happening out here, because it's an illusion.
Right. And the thing is, that's what's keeping the system running. That's what's keeping that. So when you start to realize, hey, I'm not going to feed and engage in this. I'm going to be grateful that I have the $2 to put in here so I can make it down the street and make $5. See, when you change the way you look at things, then you look at change. And thank you, Dr. Wayne Dyer. That's how you change your external experience. Because although it may look like this, when you change how you're looking at it, it has to change. So when you look at the pump and you go $5.50, thank you, God, I got $20. Put it in. Next thing you know, you will have more money, more gas, whatever. It's going to change. But the more you focus on, I can't believe this chicken. That's just as soon as I stop eating beef and pork, they don't raise the chicken prices. What we gonna do? Girl, we ain't stop eating. Hot dog eating good, honey. I had my cousins over here last week because my mom was in town, and I go to the butcher and get him some bone marrow because they say it's good for his teeth and it's really good. And my cousin said, "You got hot dogs spoiled run." I'm like, "Yeah, girl, we got the good life."
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, I know what that is. I'm not gonna be giving him something I don't know what they put in it. He's like my child.
Yeah, but we have to change our mindset about what we think about the situation. If we think there's going to be a shortage, there is. If we think we can't afford it, we can. Because God's going to say yes and amen to whatever you're thinking. He's not going to go against your will. Perfect, gentlemen. If you don't want to be blessed, he is not going to force you to be blessed. But if you want to embrace it, I told y'all before, God said, my children just refuse to receive, or they don't know how to receive. I am providing for them a currency or even flow for everything. This stuff out here is going to pass away. But we're trying to hold on to it.
No, it has
to be possible.
And the reason why it happens to pass away, die, is because something new is being born to live in your experience based on what you've sown seed-wise. Your voice, your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior. your attitude, those are all seeds. So all these things will, yeah, it's gonna pass away. All the stuff that I had years ago, girl, I don't want so much. Oh my goodness, all the I don't know, all the stuff, material things. But I think about it, I'm like, man, I'm still here, and I'm better than I was. You know, I'm like, I played all these different types of characters throughout my life, and now I'm playing another character that's doing this, and I feel more closer to God and more grateful. So I'm thinking about that. I was like, how can they get like that? And it was because they got caught up in the external before they focused on the internal and allowed Christ to really dwell in them and give them the sight and the healing, the true inner healing. See, a lot of times people think they be going through all this stuff and be like, wow, why me? Why me? He's like, I'm trying to do something for you, fool. I'm trying to get you to line up with me so that you can have the true riches internally to experience the true riches externally. You want all this stuff, but there's something that needs to happen in here. And that's what he was saying to all these
people. We need to eliminate asking why and how. Because you knowing why this happened doesn't really change anything about it happening. So when we only ask why when it's a tight space, when it's a challenging space, when it's something that we're challenging our greatness, where we're trying, we're in the process of mastering our greatness and taking us to our highest version of ourselves. That's when we start asking why. Why is this happening? Why is that happening? But when you're in a place where your bills are paid and stuff is going good, you don't never say, well, God, why are you paying my bills? Why is everything going good? And so we've got to master that everything is a polarity, and that it's on the same, it's just at a different energy or degree.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And also another thing, people, when you know you're in the army of the Lord and you're serving and you're doing your work as unto him, when you're in the military and they tell you, oh, gotta go, you have pack up one bag, you on another helicopter and you going on the other side of the world. You don't ask no questions, you don't express no doubt, you don't show no fear, you don't do any of that. You don't left everything behind. You got to go. They call it temporary housing.
Yeah. And we got to be able to pull up.
You have to pull up and go.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you approach it from that and knowing that you are in the army of the Lord and you are serving him, however way you're doing it, you're serving him on the job, or you're doing this, or however way you're serving God, all provision will be made. And everything that you're experiencing, every place you're living and dwelling is temporary, because this ain't our home. So the thing is, if you realize that this is what's happening, then when stuff like that happens, you be like, oh, must be time to go. Come on, hot dog, let's hit it.
Yeah, we're in a movement, not a monument. And we're constantly moving, and we're not operating in time. We're operating in timing. They're not the same thing. Time is falling away. The time is indefinite. Timing is definite. So if you're operating in the timing of God, we used to say that God is an on-time God. No, he's an on-timing God. Yes, he is. Because time only came when man came here. So God doesn't really operate in time. He operates in eternity. That's why everything is in the now and there's a flow. God moves like that. And when we begin to move, when he's moving, then we're going to be in the flow of the timing and not the time.
Right. Ooh-wee. So he says, look, I have been standing at the door and I'm constantly knocking. How did Jesus get outside now? First he was in your heart.
That's a good question.
I accept you into my heart, Lord. Now he's standing out. How did he get like that? Y'all don't kick Jesus out. How did that happen?
Because it's a process of listening to other people. And so when we begin to listen to what other people are telling us, and I'm not telling you that what people say to you cannot be used. I'm saying you've got to know this for yourself. Otherwise, people are going to lead you away from where you need to be at the time. Because where you are is not where I am. You're in Florida. I'm in Georgia. But we're here talking about something. But what God is doing for you in Florida, he's doing something different here in Georgia, but he's the same source.
Same source. And
so we get God outside when I start trying to do and be like Vanessa, then I'm getting out of sort. So God is outside of that. He's an inside God. And if we don't stay in, he out there now saying, let me back in.
How did he get out? That's why, I'd be
We
like,
let him out. We put him out.
be like, wait a minute. They got so caught up in the external things that they had no place for the internal. So they begin to allow those external things to take up space.
Yeah.
To take up space where only Christ should dwell.
Right.
Enlightenment, encouragement, unconditional love. So they started putting all that stuff that was on the outside internally when it was
temporary. They were trying to fill a permanent space with temporary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he got outside, because the temporary stuff was so crowding. They couldn't hear him no more. They couldn't see him no more. They couldn't feel him no more.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still trying to get in. I mean, that's a God that when you forsaken him, he still wants to be inside with you.
Yeah. But look, he said at the beginning now, he said, but since you're merely lukewarm, I will spit you out of my mouth. Just like you spit me out of your heart, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth because you done allowed yourself to get lukewarm. You're not hot.
That's how we got out. That's how
he got out.
Yeah. It's because we haven't made a decision to be in with him. Mm-hmm. And we're like, if I'm with you, then I'm in there. Then when I'm with somebody else, then I'm out there. And not making a decision to be, and we're trying to be in the clique and in the club. Yeah. And God still wants you. Yeah,
because I am my Father, because that's where we come from. And see, the thing is, and the downfall of we were conditioned for so many years, hundreds of years, that God was outside of us.
Right.
That was the biggest lie ever told.
When I discovered, I'm telling you, when I discovered that he wasn't the man upstairs that I could not reach, all I had to do in my heart is I could contact him immediately. I didn't have to go higher as far as heaven. That's why I'm saying we're looking to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die.
And you want to hear something else too? I believe when we arrive here, he's in our heart already.
Yes.
The consciousness is in our heart. And he's talking to the churches. Because dig this now. So all of these churches begin to rise up after Christ consciousness done come and it's an example. And he said, look, this is where you're falling short. So the thing is that when we got here, we were already complete and equipped. We had it all. That's how babies, you see nothing but joy in them. You just want to give them everything and love on them and everything. So the thing is, we arrive here like that. But because we're in this, having this human experience here, right? And these churches, he said he found fault with the churches, not the people, the churches. So if we are the church, that means he found fault with us. But these buildings in these cities, and they were setting up all these, and these people were dwelling, and people got so caught up thinking that it was a building. But no, it's you. It is you. He's like, look, you didn't arrive here like this. You became this because of the experiences that you were experiencing in human form here on this planet, on this earth. So, but this is where you're falling short, because before, when we both arrived here, we were together, we were one. Now we're separated. And the biggest lie they ever told us was to make us believe that was the way it's supposed to be. When no, it wasn't.
Right. It's never been a separation. And that's why we're saying, we keep saying that God is coming back. He never left. We keep saying we're waiting for him to come back. He's never left me. He said, I'll never leave you or forsake you. So how do we get this, that he's gone somewhere to come back to get us?
Yeah.
When this experience,
it's just in another form.
Experience. Yes. It's
another form. He ain't left.
Because if he left, then he wouldn't be in us. And the kingdom of heaven is within.
Yeah.
So if he left, then we're without the kingdom. And
It's the contrast and the
Mhm.
craziness and the confusion that we know don't come from God. Because the thing is that this asking Jesus come into your heart, I always question that. I was like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. If the kingdom is within me and I got to ask Jesus to come in, and I kind of get it now what they were trying to explain, because you have all this external stuff. Ask him to come in because he's standing at the door knock. He's standing at the door knock, allow him to come in. I get that part now. You allow it's just an acceptance and allowing it. But
It's
in
a mind
actuality,
thing.
it's a mind thing. It's got to happen in your mind. And you've got to, I used to visualize all this stuff of Jesus outside. I'm like, come on in, Jesus. Excuse the mess. Just come on in and sit down. There's a crack pipe over there in the corner and a bottle of wine over there. Just come on in, and I just, and he said, I'll sup with you and all this kind of stuff. He said, come on in, I'll hang out with you. And I think that was the great thing about the story, because Jesus did the same thing. He went and hung out with some tax collectors and all them people. They hung out with them, and he said, I'll sup with you. And the great thing about it is that God, when you really allow and go through that experience, allowing Christ consciousness to rule and reign in your heart again, all that other stuff will pass away. It will pass away.
It's amazing that he went from spewing to say he'll sup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's times in our lives where we don't even like ourselves.
Yeah.
And so it's making a decision to be hot or cold is the reason we don't like ourselves.
Yeah.
Because God, if we're not operating in the word of God, he's saying out of his mouth, and then he's out there knocking. And so we have to be inclusive, that we have a desire to make this choice. There is no other way.
You have to be authentically you, people. You have to be. That's what Christ is saying. I want you to be authentically. If you know you've messed up and toe up from the flow up, be that. Be that. Because eventually, I'm a witness. I used to read the Bible and do lines of cocaine. Yeah. Look who won. And look who's still winning. See what I'm saying?
Because that was outside of you. And I think we're mixing it up.
Yeah. And
it's multi-dimensional. Mm-hmm. It's not all the same, although we are operating. It's crazy to understand, but we're operating differently and we're operating the same. And when you get to that, it's like, if you don't have the revelation on your walk, you don't have the light. And so you're walking in darkness. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what he was telling the church, to operate in the light. In the light. Because once there's light, there is no darkness.
No.
And a light cannot be hid. Nope. And I don't care what you've done or what you're doing. You cannot be hid, because God has created you with purpose. And you must allow yourself to see yourself and be yourself. I had a minister, and he said to me, ask God to show you you. Because that mirror ain't doing you no justice.
And, okay, so let's we got 2 minutes to speak to that. When God shows you and you think, okay, he's going to show you, but it's going to be a different point of view than what you're used to seeing. And the reason why he wants to show you is because he's showing you those areas that require improvement. Yes. Not for you to go walk in front of a bus. He wants you to show you, because he's like, look, this is where you're lacking. And this is what he was speaking to these 7 churches. He was like, look, I love you, but this is where you're falling short. This is where you need improvement. So all throughout, us talking about these 7 churches, ladies and gentlemen, is to help you find and see, so that you can be revealed to you those areas of improvement. That it wasn't about you're bad and this and that and all that kind of stuff. He's like, just choose how you want to be. Choose if you're going to be, and then they say on fire. And it's just allowing your true love light to shine in your heart, so that people can see the goodness of God. That's love. Yeah. It's already, it's all about love for me. So he's like, I just want to show you where these areas of improvement. So come and let me sup with you. Come and let's hang out, and let me show you these areas, so that we can do the work together. And I can show you and equip you so that you can have all of these material things, but not let them have you, and you can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And
Because
that's what he was trying to bring the church to. He said, you're trying to be one way outside, and then you're trying to be another way on the inside. But let me show you how you can be holistically and have those things and have me and fulfill the purpose all together. So I believe, as we've talked about all of these churches, the only thing God is saying to you, you can have it all.
you can have it all, but you have to have it the right way. And it's all to make you a better, I call it a better Christ-filled, loving, compassionate, kind, joyful, Christ-filled human. You're a spiritual being, but are you allowing all of these attributes and characteristics of Christ consciousness to just rule and reign? And that's how we're so unique, but the same at the same time, because we come from the same stuff, but we're different shapes and forms and sizes and personalities. But it's like a light bulb, right?
Mm-hmm.
A light bulb is still a light bulb. This ring light operates from the same type of mechanisms than a regular light bulb. It's designed to reflect light. So it's like us. We're all different versions of light. We should be.
Right.
So, oh my goodness, it's 8:01, ladies and gentlemen. We are wrapping up the 7 churches of Revelation, and okay, so next week, because I had two more episodes for Spiritually Speaking for us, because I wanted us to really talk about the corrupted church, and we're going to talk about that, wrap up the episodes. But we're also going to have a recap of all of the churches next week, and then we'll go into the talk, and I'll be sharing the scriptures and stuff with you guys. But I want to thank each and every one of you. If you hadn't had a chance to watch them, download the Stay in Love TV app.
Yes.
Where it's available on iOS and Android. Everybody's using their phones for everything. I mean, I watch it on my phone and everything. I go to a park with hot dog and I'm watching the episodes, and I'm just getting nervous and watching today's Michelleology. And it's very exciting. And I'm, we're almost wrapping up the first season of being on the new network, co-host.
I know. We're staying in the timing. We're staying in time. There's no, I know we have to go, but there's no use in us doing this if we're not providing change,
Right.
or tools. If only one person watched and there's a change of their mind, then I'm excited.
Absolutely.
So we're not necessary. We would like numbers, but numbers are not good if there's no quality in the numbers that we have. So download the app. There may be one day you're going through something and you just look on the app and see a title and just tap into it. And it will be exactly what you need at that time.
Yes, I believe that. We're just merely serving you, and it's up to you to choose on what you would like to partake in. And it's all coming from a space of love. So I want to pitch out here. If you want to be a part of the network, just reach out to us and let us know. The website is currently being developed. The assistant totally wants to say, I want to revamp it. I want to rebrand. I'm like, go for it. And so we're working on that. But you can reach out to us on social media. You know how to find me and Stay in Love. But you want to be a part of something that is that's driven by love, then contact us. We want to hear from you. If you feel inspired to share a message, contact us. We're going to be really advertising it once we wrap and go on sabbatical. But Stay in Love TV.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sharing. Social media world, thank you for your comments. Thank you guys for stopping by, and continue to support us in any way you can by sharing. However way you want to support. We're just so grateful. And I feel good after every episode. I feel good.
Yes. Yeah. We must be celebrating.
Yeah.
At all times. Because at one time we was on somebody else's network.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, when you're doing your work as unto the Lord, then when it's time to move, it's time to move. And I had to be obedient, and I'm grateful. I mean, I feel very liberated, and to be able to provide an opportunity for folks and just for you and I to really build this together. And I'm so grateful that you're my co-host and network partner, and that you're just really just been such a huge asset of just, I love it and love you. So thank you guys so much for everything. Tune in tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Stay in Love TV. You tune in our live channels. Michelle Massey, today's Michelleology. You go to her channel and tune in live. And if you can't or miss it, just download the app and go to her channel, and you'll find it. And like she said, you may be going through something. You may just want to just be inspired and encouraged. Drop on by and Stay in Love TV. We got you. All right, guys. We got you. Thank you so much. And again, see you next week, co-host. Have an amazing week, everyone. Namaste. We bow to the divine, what you said, presence, purpose.
Yes, presence, purpose, plan.
All that good stuff.
Power. All the P's.
all in you. Good night, everybody, and stay in love.
Stay in Love TV is your production to distribution solution to getting your message seen and heard. Having your own TV show with Stay in Love TV has never been easier than now. Stay in Love TV gives you the power to share your message with the world. Stop watching TV and start being watched on TV. Stay in Love TV offers real-time multicasting, all with one click. This opportunity puts you on the world stage with an audience of over 200 million. In addition to your low monthly subscription fees, you will also receive monthly network coaching and training from the network itself to ensure that before your first show premieres, you are set up for success. We at Stay in Love TV bring over 20 years experience in sales, marketing, advertising, and business development. Stay in Love TV, purposeful entertainment driven by love, empowered with passion, fueled with faith. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com and let's get started.